room's full of figurines and shit.
You bought the Dungeon Master, though, right?
He bought all the books.
All of them,
really
dude.
Only need to buy one.
But the guy you played with, the Dungeon Master, you bought him, right?
Oh yeah, we paid money for him.
Are you gonna pay for him again?
We actually are. At least one more time.
No. Oh my god,
dude, we need him.
You are a storyteller.
That's what we
You
need.
be the Dungeon Master, dude.
I'm not that skilled yet.
Oh my god.
Welcome back to another episode of Toon Talk TV, the #1 animated podcast on YouTube. Everything brought to you by We Are the Television. If it's your first time to the channel, be sure and like, follow, subscribe. This is the pod where we talk about everything that has to do with cartoons. But before we get into that, guys, how are we looking this week? It's only Tuesday, but by the time this airs, it'll be a full week. How we been? How the fuck are things going? Al, you're finally back.
I know, it feels good. It really does. I will say, it was kind of fun watching it from afar and just, like, hearing what you guys have to say. You guys are keeping me interested, surprisingly.
We're entertaining?
You're entertaining
thank
me,
God.
man.
Adding it to the resume, dude. Entertaining.
Wow. No, for real. I was pleasantly... And actually, I found myself being like, oh, shit, I want to say something about that. I got so much to say about that. But, like, goddamn. Like, Koala Man... So I was so pumped for that, and that was like kind of a bummer. What else? There was a lot of stuff.
Did you see it? Did you see Koala Man?
Yeah, I saw it all. What
do you think about it? Did you agree with what was said or no?
Yeah, no, I agreed with what you guys said. There was parts of it that I just felt like it was Cusack watered down, man. I feel like they put him through a strainer, and that's what they got left with.
It ended well, though. It did. Though, right?
It did.
Yeah.
It did. But and that was the coolest thing about it. I thought the idea. I feel like Hulu does that now, where they're like, "Here's the formula. We're gonna make a series that goes on forever, but we're gonna give you the key plot points on the first episode and the last episode to give you cliffhangers." And the fact that I read through that, I don't like. But I wish that they would have. They should have just made a Darren and Damo series. I wish they just would have done that. They were the best part about
characters that we want to see. What about the? Did you have anything to touch on the Justin Roiland controversy?
Yes.
Did you have any little puppet strings you wanted to pull on that?
I'll be honest. I would have sided. I seem to side on solar opposites more on a lot of the things.
Really?
I know you guys ended up with Rick and Morty being the winner, but between those questions, I tended to side with solar opposites more. I feel like to just give a blanket idea on everything that you guys said.
Yeah.
I feel like they realized what they did wrong with Rick and Morty and corrected it in Solar Opposites.
Okay.
In the sense where it could live on, and I think that it could definitely keep moving forward without Justin Roiland. You guys were right in saying that it's going to be hard for Rick and Morty to continue without him, solely because of their audience. They got sticklers of an audience that are diehard Roiland fans, and you take him out of the picture, and you're going to be left with something
Rick
not
and
as
Morty
good.
will be the first show to like not even use voice actors at all. They just use AI generated voices.
Oh. Hey, you know what?
That'd kind of be cool,
It could. And you know what but what I will say is they did set it up in a way where if they want to destroy that Rick and use a different Rick and just call him like from a different universe
style,
with a
dude.
different voice.
Oh, dude,
They
everyone would fucking pummel that. Oh, they would
I'm
get
just
so
saying
mad.
they can if they want.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's the show's been
Different
flipping
voice,
in on itself
Rick. That's just gonna be
for forever. Dude,
Different voice Rick.
They could do it. They could do it.
If you haven't seen those, we'll link to the description down below. But with that, guys, this is why people come to the show, to figure out what tunes we're talking. So I got some things to say. So I'm going to start with Al. Al, what tunes are you watching?
Dude, I have, this has been one of my favorite cartoons for a long time. And they have been stringing it along and fucking pulling it apart as far as they can go. Attack on Titan Attack on Titan final season part 3. Yes. Part 1 of part 3.
Yeah.
Came out recently, and oh man,
that's season. That would be season 4.
Season 4,
part 3.
Oh, part 3. But part 1 of part 3.
Wait, did they really fucking call it that? Is that what it's called?
I don't know exactly what it's called. It's the final season part 3. That's
okay.
Basically called. But it's season 4, the third part of it, and they released this as a movie, a special. And it's going to be in 2 parts, 2 specials. This one was an hour long, and I did like how they did almost make it like you can still watch it as episodes, but they like smushed them right up against each other rather than put it out on like a weekly basis. And I'm so glad that they decided to do it in a lump sum, because they've been dragging it along so much. And I feel like people have been pushing back on just that fact that, like, come on, you told us it was the final season. You stretched that into 2 seasons, and then that still wasn't the end. Like, come on. Like, give me, like, you've pulled me along
rough,
long enough.
Man.
That's blue
really
balling
rough.
you for a really long time.
Oh, my God. They've been blue balling for a while. And you know what? These Attack, and I know you're going to have a lot to say about this, but the storyline of Attack on Titan is so dense that when you spread it apart this much, it's hard to keep up. It's really hard to.
It really is, dude.
To
really
remember
is.
Certain parts of it, because I mean, it's like
and stuff like that.
I think they know at this point that they have a diehard audience that will rewatch some of these episodes. And I know both of you guys have said you don't tend to rewatch these, but I want to get some of the juicy plot points and the Easter eggs that they have hiding in these episodes enough to rewatch this. And I'm still finding stuff that they're like, oh my God, they dug that in there. And like, I personally think it makes a good storyteller when you can write something, a massive story like this, and find hidden things about it that you could see in the first episode. They start out this special with a scene that we've seen 3. This is now the 3rd time that we've seen this scene in Attack on Titan, and it's different every time. They change a little something about the scene every time.
Very
and
cool.
It makes you think,
that's very cool.
Like, what are they trying to tell us here? And it goes deep, and it's so for people who haven't seen it, it is an anime that is basically, the overall theme is war. It starts out with talking about war in the sense where the small part of humanity is left surrounded by monsters, and everyone in this they call it Paradise, this town surrounded by walls, there's monsters, titans, what they call, constantly keeping them in, keeping them herded like cattle, Aaron calls it. And as children, they don't fully understand, like, what's going on, I guess, but why this is happening. But it soon becomes apparent when that wall gets broken down by a massive titan, and their parents get eaten alive in the most brutal way possible. They see it all, and they dedicate their lives to pushing back. Basically, after this, they become soldiers and fight back to try to get out of this situation. I don't want to spoil anything, but basically, and I mean, should I? I feel like I want to spoil stuff.
Spoiler alert. I mean, what do you? Let's just talk about it. This whole
So Aaron is basically based his life on the fact that he wants to fight these titans. He thinks that they are the last of humanity inside these walls, and it's just titans. And once they beat those titans, they have a massive world to regain. Basically, there's oceans. There's oceans, there's seas, there's forests outside of the world, and basically it's freedom. After they beat the Titans, they can partake in freedom. They've won. So they soon find out that they eventually beat the Titans, and they find out that on the other side of that, there's just other people controlling those Titans, trying to destroy them, and that fact alone is disappointing. Pisses him off even more. It leaves him with like a hole inside that's just like, fuck the world, and it shows how war can like basically destroy a person and create, like, war creates more war. So he wants to basically destroy the world after this, and that's everyone else's fault for starting the war that they put on him. Like, as a child, he started off with a clean mind, but you killed his family. You killed everything that he loved.
Most of his friends. Like...
everyone's dead. Like, you created this monster that now is almost successfully about to destroy the rest of the world. And what I love about this storyline is whenever you have a villain that you can side with, a villain that you understand why that they're doing what they're doing, that is a fantastic story. Because how do you explain, how do you have good reason for trying to destroy to basically eliminate everyone else on the planet? And if you've watched up to this point, you understand Aaron, our protagonist, who is this villain at this point that wants to kill everyone.
Sounds a lot like Thanos, dude. Are you describing Thanos? Is that who you meant to say? Thanos?
Basically. But
yeah, if Marvel started off with baby Thanos and we understood where from that point, actually that would probably be a pretty good story.
It would be a good story.
They're going to give it to us. Give them 10 years.
Baby Thanos.
Thanos.
So what did you guys both see this? Have you guys caught? I know Brett's mostly caught up, or
yeah, no, I watched it. I watched it all. I actually enjoyed it. There are a few things about this show that annoys the fuck out of me.
Let's hear it, baby. Let's hear it.
One, you said it's about war, and I love. If I could say my favorite thing about this show is I love Titans stomping on humans and eating them and ripping their bodies apart. It's by far the best part about this show. And it starts out with a bang. It does a lot of that. And then it goes into the boring side of war where a bunch of people are talking for seasons and seasons. Fuck that. I don't need to know if someone told me you're watching a war movie and then for 50 minutes of the 2-hour-long movie, they're in a boardroom talking about what they're going to do. Fuck that. You know, like, I don't...
I hear that.
Part of war, dude.
It is part of war, though. It is part of war.
Sure. But I'm just saying, if you've got a cartoon with one of the coolest, gruesomest things I've ever seen, and they're just visually, like... Titans are also, like, if no one's ever seen this, it's like a giant baby...
Naked human.
Naked, like, but with no like balls or vaginas or anything, and then they're like,
it's pretty freaky
you can see
looking,
their
even for a
muscles
cartoon.
Totally, it's super gruesome, and these they like will rip, like they'll eat people and like rip their limbs apart, and you see it all. It's amazing, and then when they're fighting them, it's just as gruesome because like you'll have this like. We talked about like a little human, like almost like Ant-Man, just like flying around them and like destroying like this giant, which is awesome. But then, all right, that's the first thing that I'm annoyed about with this show, where I feel like there should be more action. The second thing is the character design. Look, they have characters, like important characters that almost look exactly like other people in the story.
Yeah,
like,
I agree with that.
So,
I actually do agree with that.
So you have these kids that you grew up with in the beginning of the show. There's these like little kids with these like finite characteristics, and then long periods of time go past, and they'll show these characters again, and they won't necessarily. Yeah, you're.
Can I pause on that? Can I pause on you right
sure.
there and say something? I didn't notice this off the bat, and I'm sure a lot of people won't notice this, but in that special, we see Aaron's grandparents in a cell when he's destroying Marley. they're in a cell. Zeke's grandparents and Aaron's grandparents, they're stuck in a cell, presumably because Zeke basically is a traitor. And Marley put them in a cell, and you see them pretty much die when Aaron is when the rumbling has happened and they're passing through Marley. So that's the first part. Second part is at the end when we see of this special, when we see the train going with all the people in it. Those are basically all the parents of all the warrior titans. So that's Reiner's parents,
Family.
Annie's parents, like
Bertolt's family.
Falco, Gabby. Every single one of those people survived. They literally got out and got to these airship, the airship spot. Now, I mean, some of that will be noticeable because they did like the flashback for Reiner's mom or whatever.
But it's not though, and I think that's an issue because this could have been avoided by better character design. Like they literally could have just like I don't think that was a mistake. Like I don't think they're supposed to. They're like doing that on purpose. I think it's a failure. I think they should have.
I agree with you on that.
The Armin and the new guy that Aaron talks to, the blonde dude. I thought
look
that
very similar. Yeah.
Dude, for a season, I was like, what happened to Armin? Like, he's kind of an ass now. Like, but
you're not wrong.
Like, what happened there? And then, all right, and then I have a third thing that I just thought of too is so these humans will gain an ability to turn into a giant titan if they eat one of these titans with superpowers. And is that how Armin got his Titan powers? Is that?
Yes.
Well, I forget. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and throughout seasons of this happening, like that was one of the most epic battles when he got that power, and then I think 2 or 3 seasons went by, and we only seen him turn into that Titan once. Like.
There's a huge backstory to that, dude. You know, from all these seasons beforehand, you know how he is as a character. He is not going to treat that lightly that he could just trample over an entire town.
But
that's
it's
a part of a
cool.
character.
I want to watch that, dude.
I know
wanna
you do,
watch
but that's what makes it. I feel like that's a part of that makes the series so good. They treat the character development so like they get in that so in depth. That it's more than just like an action free for all. It's not just like a blowout war. Like you've come to know these characters through the seasons of you seeing them, and just now they're doing this blowout of deaths of all these people that we've known for so long, and I think that makes it even better. I think than just killing off all these people mid-season and for so long. But teach their own on opinions, of course. But Nick, how about you? What do you think?
All right, where to begin? First, I'm going to go back to Al's previous statement about stringing you along. I had a similar feeling back when I didn't even know it was happening to me. Back when Dragon Ball Z was we didn't have the internet, we didn't have fucking streaming platforms, but you had to wait Toonami every time for the new episode of Dragon Ball Z. And it was like right when he's getting ready to turn Super Saiyan, they would start the season all over again. And you'd be like, what the fuck? Like, and then you got to watch it all the way through. And then it would come to it again. And you'd be like, oh, baby, here it is. And then what do? Fucking back to the beginning. And then you're just like, are you fucking kidding me? Just nuts the size of grapefruits, dude. Didn't even know it. Flash forward to this show. And similarly enough, I was late to the Attack on Titan game, so I probably haven't been waiting as long as you guys have. So that's that part. The second part, I also have 3. So my second one is if you go onto my Instagram, reporter Nick G, you can see that I made a little cartoon of anatomically correct Titans. It's my own little Titan comic that I did. That's what they should look like. And third, I'm with Brett on this, dude. Give me Power Rangers style episodes. Titan of the week, dude.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
fucking fighting. That's
you,
all
man.
I want, baby.
You
That's
guys,
all
I hear
I
you.
need.
I hear you, and I think this goes into a part of it that you just said with like back in DBZ how they would string you along too. I think I've now become a sucker for it. I think I'm just like.
Yeah.
Like not
Slave
like because
to the pain, dude. You
oh,
love it.
I love the dragging along because it's when you do see it, it's that much better. It's like it's here.
And so, and the last thing though is I want to correct my statement and say that I was wrong when I said that the death of anime storytelling, because Al, I'm going to side with you. This is one of the most complex, interesting stories I would say in a lot of the anime. I'd say it's right up there with Gundam Wing for me, Trigun, Full Metal Alchemist. Like it has one of the best stories that I've ever seen. Where I have qualms with it is the dialogue, dude. The dialogue in this show is fucking awful. I don't need 5 minutes of them discussing mentally that they want to go to the sea and then finally blurting out physically, "We gotta take him to the sea!" You just fucking had a mental conversation with yourself about wanting to go to the sea, and then you tell the people that we have to take him to the sea. It's just repetitive fucking stuff. Man,
I agree with you. I'm just so used to it with all anime. That is a consistent
I think that's an anime trope, right?
Yeah,
that's what it does. Yeah.
I think the story's good. I do think the story's good. I just think it's overly ambitious. I feel like if you want to slow it down, fucking make it a One Piece. Dude, make this a forever show if you want. Because there's enough to unpack if you want. Like,
there really is.
You could this show could have been like 20 years long, but don't say final season and then make it 20 years long. Because it doesn't make sense.
You're right.
I think it could have been fixed. It could have given us 5 seasons of Titan of the Week. And then we figure out where those Titans are coming from, and then it goes into this stuff. But I'm with Brett.
They could have put a lot more battle in there. I'm not, but I will say that was like kind of the middle area. What, like third end of the second season
was the big
third season
one.
Okay, I won't lie, that was a little bit of a dud, but you needed that to get into the fourth season. So it's obvious that they had the whole thing planned out from the start.
Of course.
And that is a part of storytelling that I actually do appreciate rather than figuring it out as you go.
It's difficult, man. That's hard stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, though, I as far as story writing goes, I don't think necessarily they were figuring. I mean, like some people will have to figure out how to get from the beginning to the end, but good story writing is still keeping it entertaining in between. And that is a feat in itself. I don't know.
How do we push the narrative but not making it boring at the same time?
Right. Breaking Bad did an amazing. I know it's not a cartoon, but it did an amazing job of doing that, where it kept the episodes 40 to an hour minutes long, and you were still entertained the entire time, whether it's the audio, the visuals, just something
I do agree too with the character creation stuff. Like Armin, Captain Levi, and Mikasa look way too similar in some. They all have the same hair shape, the same eyes, and they're fucking all dressed in the same uniform. So for me, it's like, how the fuck am I supposed to tell these people apart other than their voice?
So let me touch on this too. This is interesting that you guys are saying that, because I didn't really know this until too long ago, but I think I read a little bit on, I think it's Isayama. Isayama is the creator of Attack on Titan. And when they first initially came up with the story and the art for it, it wasn't like that normal anime style. And they wanted, what was it? The main manga that you see all these main animes coming out of, Shonen Jump or the whatever magazine that you've seen these mangas in first, wanted to change it to that style to fit the
Kind of like what we as Americans consume as anime content. Like they wanted to keep it
because of course they if they can adapt that into their style, then they can continue to put it out under their brand. And he didn't want to at first, but then of course caved, because that's a massive, that's a huge company. You put your story on that, you basically have another Forever show. You know what I mean? That's instant fame.
Overall, it's great for me. Like I'm glad you guys turned me on to that one. It has been a favorite. Just finished season 3, so now I'm on to season 4, and I can get to that special. I think it's great. You can watch it on Hulu. It's available on Hulu. You guys got any final thoughts on it?
Nope.
No, I do. As much as I shit talked it, I do enjoy it a lot. I just think that it's just an overwhelming show. I was talking to you a little bit about it, Al, where it's like, in terms of consuming content, like, sometimes you want to watch a show that has a shit ton of lore, but you can't always just wake up in the morning and watch Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or something like that, you know? And this is
some
one
people
of those.
Some people can, but
I know. Yeah.
Dude, we'll fix that in the future. Titan of the week, baby.
Sure, yeah.
And so, just so you know, the second part of that, I don't think it's coming out until fall. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, right.
Fantastic.
They continue to stretch us along. So,
all right. Next up, Brett, what tunes are you watching?
All right, I am watching King Star King. I've done King Star King before, but he just came out with a special, and he changed it up a little. He changed up the animation style, the character design, and the story has moved on. It has moved on in a way that kept the old one going, but also was very different from the original concept of it. Did you guys get a chance to see it?
yeah,
We did. Yeah.
love it.
You loved it, yeah. So I did too. I feel like there are. I have many things to say about this, but I kind of want to jump off what your initial concepts were of this.
Let me jump on this one first, Al.
Yeah.
So after watching this, I sent Brett a text, and I'd watch a few episodes of the original King Star King, and then just dove right into this special. And after watching that, I think I sent the text, and it was something along the lines of, like, what the fuck? Like, what did I just watch? One, the animation style from J.J. Villard is just so insane. It's just moving 1,000 miles an hour. And I love it, and it's fantastic. But the one question I had for Brett, because it had a trope that Brett does not like doing in cartoons, it introduced a real-life character, but completely reinvented the person. It introduced Jeff Bezos.
I agree with him in that.
And Brett, so what did you think of the minute that they pull Amazon and Jeff Bezos into the cartoon? Did that take you out of it? What were you feeling?
All right, that's actually I didn't even think about that. That's a great question because I have talked shit about that. I think that it's easy to do it for characters like that, to that level of because like you could bring. There's a few people you could bring in, and everyone's going to be generally on the same page of what they're talking about. You could bring in Santa Claus. You could bring in Donald Trump. You could bring in, like, these are big enough media public guys where if you talk about them, you're not really doing that much damage. It's already all there in the media, you know? But if you were to bring in someone like
fucking, I don't know,
Elon Musk.
No. Elon Musk is just as big. Yeah, I would say like
someone like fucking like Oprah Winfrey or Tom Cruise or
no, even those guys. Like you see these people on South Park. I'm thinking of like the owner of
like Anthony Bourdain or something like that.
Anthony Bourdain's a perfect one, but where it's like some people have like some type of backstory about them in their head, whether they agree with them or not. Like
you don't have the character develop; it's already there.
Yes, yeah, but with Bezos, it's almost he's on like a different level of like,
it's almost like a common enemy that people hate.
Yeah,
no matter what,
because he envelops the
corporate capitalism. But yeah.
He stands for something specific that you see.
Yes, and I also thought it was weird. I don't know if you guys caught this, but some of the characters called him Bezos, while other characters called him Bezos. Did you guys catch that or no?
I think it was Bezos when it was the hero side of things, but it was Bezos when it was like the people working for him, like when he goes in and he's like, I
believe may have been on purpose. Yeah, that may have been like to make sure that they didn't get any. But I mean, how do you even go around that? He's basically saying Amazon and everything. In it, so I don't think you could really go around.
Prime on it and shit. Like,
well, can I say something about that too? I feel like the moment you bring someone in, you timestamp it because like Bezos, as huge as he is, I think he was a little more in the at the top of the culture phenomenon a year ago or 2 years ago during the pandemic when everyone was just would continue I might be wrong, but I just feel like you timestamp it in a sense where is he the big combined evil guy that we thought of when the stock was going insane in the pandemic? I don't know. I feel like that kind of dulled down a little bit since then. So you can tell that the time that they put him into the cartoon when everyone hated Jeff Bezos. And I think everyone, I agree with you in the sense where everyone still kind of feels that way, but in 10 years. Yes.
Well,
in 10 years, will people think that? Probably not. You dated your cartoon the moment you did that.
All right, I think dating is more of like dating your cartoon is more of making it a Christmas special, which by the way it was, which is weird. This episode was a Christmas special, but the way King Star King is set up, how past episodes have gone, there's been a villain per episode that they defeat. So really. I think he's more throwaway than you guys are making him. I don't think he's like the big villain of this story. I think like he was just another villain that they had to take care of. And
I only say that because it was a special. You know what I mean? You don't know if more is coming. Like it seems like more is coming, and that'd be great. But do we know? I don't think anyone knows.
No, we don't know. No.
For me, Brett, though, so before I let you jump in completely to this, after viewing it, seeing 1,000 miles an hour just constantly fed these interesting characters, weird set pieces, it going from A to B to C, I was like, I'm fucking here for it, dude. This is something that I can just binge. If there was like 15 episodes of this, dude, churning it up, dude. Churning it up. I need it all.
Agreed. So I feel like he changed a lot of things this time around that I necessarily didn't mind. I feel like the backgrounds, I loved the old backgrounds, but for some reason I loved these new backgrounds even more. I feel like they had this like spray paint, like airbrush, like I don't give a fuck attitude to it, where it was like there wasn't any hard outlines. I wanted to ask you about that, Al, if you noticed anything, because I feel like you're more into like making backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like the style was so cool.
I just think even like the color palette was just awesome because it's exactly like you said, Nick. It's very wide-eyed. You're looking, and there was backgrounds that I loved when they were ripping Bezos apart. You literally saw guts around him, like just like pulsating and shit, which was fucking cool.
The nose hair trimmer too, where like at the beginning where they get him the nose hair trimmer, and how did they make a nose hair trimmer so brutal? I feel like there was like audio happening. Let me tell you, like pulsing in the beginning.
I wanted to talk on that audio so badly. I feel like that is a key point to his. I don't know. I don't think he did it as much in the old ones. But I think this kind of came from Fairy Tales. I know he did this in Fairy Tales, but it's very apparent in the first part of. First 5 minutes, he's got this nice scene of like Christmas going on, and he's got these low drones of a horror. It sounds like almost like a horror flick, like music pulsating in the background that makes you just so tense and think like, oh God, they're about to rip someone's head off.
Yeah.
Even though they like don't really.
They're decorating a Christmas tree with cookies going on, and you hear this like throbbing happening. You're like just like
what's
this
horror
Dude.
pulse. It's awesome.
I was waiting for like the kid to just like rip off his own skin and just like put it back on himself. Just something grotesque.
And that's a great way of doing that without
Yeah.
actually having to draw it. Like you just tense up because you feel like it's about to happen.
Yeah.
And I love that. I feel like that was totally fresh with it. And another thing that they changed, which I don't know how I feel about it. I want to ask you guys, but I feel like I know why they did it. But I want to know how you guys feel about it. Before, they had limbs. They are not limbs, fingertips. What do you call it? Like appendages. Like they had like this time around, it was just like gloves for hands. And when they walked,
like
they like
Frosty
moved
the
like
Snowman mittens.
Yes, and they walked like South Park characters sometimes. Like, and they never did that in the old King Star King episodes. What are your thoughts on that?
Nick, you want to talk on that?
So for me, being an outsider for it, I wasn't a fan. If you're going to give me that level of detail, dude, draw a couple hands on them. Like, don't do. I'm not a big fan of the animations where it is like a Gumby hand, and then that hand can hold a sword or use a gun or do something like that. I not necessarily a cop out. But if you're already pushing the boundary, you mean you didn't have enough money to animate the hands? Are you kidding me? Like that's where the budget ended, was at the hands. So I wasn't a fan of it.
Al?
So I agree with Nick on this, but I understand what they did here. So
I do too. Yeah.
So if you go back and watch the pilot after seeing this, you realize like, oh my God, this pilot almost looks animated better than what it is now. And the sad thing is, I think he jumped the gun at the start and made something overwhelmingly awesome and realized how much he probably overdid it and probably overspent to make that. And now is dialing it back from learning from his mistakes. Like, I don't think he needs to put all of that into it to still make it a special on Adult Swim.
Less is more?
Yeah. I felt the same way about it. I think that he was so ambitious that when he did that crazy animation the first time around, he was like, well, when I didn't like have enough animators to finish that, I was working on it. Like I was like getting paid for nothing at that point, making all these things. And I heard him once say that, like, I don't know if it was on Fairy Tales or King Star King, but he made double the amount of storyboards so that they wouldn't fuck up his animation. So he literally was just doing twice the amount of drawings that he had to in order for it to come across well. So this time around, I feel like he was like, well, if I'm going to be able to get more episodes of this, I better do it in a way that I can recreate it, and in a way that I can re-spend this budget. And he's brought up times in the past where, I mean, he's a huge South Park fan, where I feel like he did the animation at times when he needed to. Like sometimes the characters had like claws, while other times they had mittens, where I feel like he's like, well, I don't need him right now at this point, so I'm just going to quickly draw this, or I don't need to draw him
situation based.
Yes. Which I almost thought pulled off like he almost pulled it off more like he was like a better professional than he was this time around than the time before. So and I don't see like to anyone normally watching that, I don't think they would say that, because you kind of have to see both sides in order for that to come across.
So here's a question for you. Being an animator, it's not necessarily cutting corners, and maybe it is a situational based thing. Like if I don't need the hands right now, don't want to spend time drawing them. But say it was a cutting corners thing. How do you as a creator deal with that? Like obviously you don't want to cut corners but sometimes you are on a deadline. Sometimes you are on a budget. How does that make you feel? Like whenever you're forced to do something like that?
Oh, dude, it kills us. Me and Al have gone way past budgets at the point where we're working for no money in order just because we want the product to look good at the end. But the fact that he pulled this off as if it was his style, it was just oh, well, that's just what the cartoon is, almost made it
it's smart.
Made him
it's
look
calculated.
more professional. Yeah. It's like he knew, it's like, oh, this guy knows what the fuck he's doing. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it enhanced the animation by any means. I do think if you watch those old episodes comparatively to these new episodes, yeah, the old animation's better. It's more interesting to watch. Another thing to touch on that is King Star King was a completely different character. The design was different. He used to be a He-Man looking muscular buff dude with a lot of line work. There was and this character is a bald fat guy, which there's not a lot of line work, and
it works for Amazon.
And I think it's because it's easier to animate. I think he said, "Oh,
so he does an interview where he says that he did it because it's more relatable to where he's at in life right now. He has a family. He's become softer than he was in his late 20s, early 30s. He says it's relatable, but I think part of it is exactly what you just said, Brett. That's much harder to draw and animate than this other character. But what's crazy to me also is that's what this whole King Star King was based off of. Wasn't it a character of King Star King in his notebook? And he's like, that guy looks awesome. Let's turn that... Mike Lazo said, well, let's turn that into a series. So it's surprising that was something that he decided to change.
It also is a testament to how much trust executives and studio heads put into you, where you could say well, I want him to represent me now, and I'm no longer that guy. They could have easily been like, we don't give a shit. We want that big buff He-Man guy because that's what we're paying you for. Versus now they were like, dude, go ahead, do what you want to do.
Well, you want to know who that dude is who told them they can go, and who did you happen to catch who the executive producer was on this show?
Is it one Justin Roiland?
Yes. Which I thought was one of the funniest things. Dude, Adult Swim says, yo, we're no longer working with Justin Roiland. And then a few weeks later tries to brush this underneath the rug. By the way, here's the new King Star King episode.
It shows how many fucking feet he's got his hands in so many pots, dude.
Yeah. Dude, and he did a few voices in this. He was Hank Waffles. Justin Roiland voiced Hank Waffles.
That's the secondary character right there.
I know. Oh, dude, he's my favorite character.
So there's one of my. So it's a small scene, but it's one of my favorites. It's the part where him and Hank Waffles get to the outskirts of the Bezos castle, and he's like, "All right, Hank, you're going with me." And he has that gun, and he's like, "Oh God!" And he puts it in his mouth and starts clicking, and he doesn't have any more bullets left. Dude, I died laughing at that. That was so good.
Another interesting thing is one of the writers is Johnny Ryan. Did you see that?
I see Johnny Ryan all over this, dude. I can see that now. I see it now.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So if you want, you should check out his comic that just came out. I think it just came out. Fuck My Son. Is that the comic? Yeah, dude. Johnny Ryan is one of the greatest comic artists of this time. You should definitely check him out if you get the chance.
Love it.
And something that I noticed that is notable, got taken away this time around in King Star King, is there was no more boobs, dude. All the jiggling boobs are gone. That's okay.
It's because he's got a family now. He can't be seeing titties anymore.
That's true. So what about you, Nick? What have you been watching?
Dude. All right, boys, strap in. This is the hot thing on the market right now. This is it, dude. After we talk about this is all you're going to consume for the near future. Okay. But I watched Arcane, League of Legends on Netflix. Are you guys familiar with League of Legends, or were you able to catch like at least an episode of the show?
I watched an episode of Arcane. I am not familiar with League of Legends. Tell me more about
same.
Yeah.
So League of Legends is a kind of like World of Warcraft based game.
Okay.
You can play with people all over the world. Most colleges and universities have esports teams, and League of Legends is one of the most popular ones that you could get a scholarship to college if you're very good at playing it. But it's similar to like Fortnite. You just get a crew of people, and then it's just a battle royale, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, 6-on-6.
Okay. That's crazy that you say that, because the first thing I thought of when I saw this animation was it looked like Overwatch. And isn't that Blizzard?
Exactly.
Who makes World of Warcraft?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's funny.
Riot Games, dude. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I was introduced this cartoon from a friend because I was like kind of getting into, or not kind of getting into. I'm always into like fantasy realm, and I like much like Attack on Titan, things that give me lore and in-depth story and stuff like that. This one just happened to be based on a video game, and this is my buddy Lucan, and he was like, if you like that type of stuff, check out Arcane on Netflix. So I gave it a shot, and I was already, the animation style alone kind of got me on board. It had this like 3D video game, almost like a better version, 1,000% better version of Reboot. Remember Reboot?
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what I thought of, dude. That's the first thing that came to my head. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but basically the story follows the two main characters in the show are the two main characters in the video game. So basically we're getting like their backstory through the first season of this show.
Which characters were they?
The what are their fucking names now? Sorry.
Pink hair and blue hair? Are you talking
Pink
about?
hair and blue hair, but
Powder?
their names Powder and Jinx.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah, Powder and Jinx. So basically the first season is that there is this kind of almost a type of civil war, a divide between the people in high society and the people that live like in poverty, in the poor. And these two girls are like pickpocketers and kind of, just little treasure hunter people that pull schemes and stuff on people. And they pull a scheme on the wrong person, and the repercussions are what shape the rest of the show. And it kind of shows who these characters will eventually become in the video game when you meet them and what you play them. Because in the video game, they're already these high-level, super badass characters that you can play.
So this is a
So
prequel?
you're kind of showing the development and the growth of them.
That's pretty
But
cool.
one of the reasons that I really like this show, and it again is from Riot Games, created by Christian Link and Alex Yee, French production. But I am a huge fan of shows that can give me different races of characters. Like there's almost like Dune-esque, or think Ready Player One, where there's like little bitty mice people, or there's they're using these giant high powered guns, and there's the big hulky tank kid, and there's the trickster kid, and there's all these different types of weapons and space travel and blah 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 blah. Consume it, dude. I am here for it. But overall, the show, I binged it once I got past the first episode, because much like some shows, you got to get through that first episode. It's all talking, all set up. The rest of it was just one after the other, because they do not shy away from death. They have death has consequences in this. People do die. You see them die. Some of them die in like super crazy ways. Not Attack on Titan death, but more so like, if a building falls on them, you see that hand hanging out from under the rubble.
Gotcha.
And it has consequences, and it shows how it affects these characters. Some in a positive way, some it pushes them towards good and trying to do better. And on one of them, I won't say who, but it takes like a psychological toll, and you see the negative effects of death. So it's really cool. I highly recommend it. First season is, I think, 8 or 9 episodes, and they're getting ready to release season 2, I believe, at the end of the year.
Nice.
Okay, interesting.
Do you play this game?
I don't. This is too high level for me, dude. Too
high level for you.
What? I've never heard you say that before in your life, dude.
High level for me, man. It was
You
just
have a D&D tattoo on your neck. What do you mean this is too high level for you?
It is a. I'm not even. I'm pretty sure it's free. It's like Fortnite free, but it got its roots in like PC, but without the control. Like keyboard PC is like how.
That's how I play, dude.
Yeah, is traditionally played.
That's how you play Fortnite, dude.
Okay, Al, take it easy, all right? Take it fucking easy.
I never. It's one of those games where you play it with a group of people, so it's better played with a group of people. And it was just never a game that was on my radar. One, because for a long time it was solely PC based, and I'm more of a console player. But after watching the show, it definitely was something like, maybe I should give this game a shot and see what's up with it. But it's been out for the game itself has been out for a really long time. The show is fairly new, and I'm kind of excited to see the direction that they're going to take in like future seasons.
So this animation style looks incredibly difficult to me. Do you think they use the game engine to make this animation pretty much?
Yes.
You would say so?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. There was the one downside I had from this show is it uses a lot of, so much like any video game, music plays an important role, right? If you think of old school game, Crash Bandicoot, Resident Evil, any of those old games, Fortnite too has like real musicians that enter into the game and you can hear their real music. I feel like that kind of takes me out a little bit. And in this show, there's like songs from Imagine Dragons just start playing.
Dude,
And
I
I'm
forgot
like,
about that.
That would kill me.
I'm like, dude,
I
I fucking,
They started the first. Is that the theme song?
That's the theme song.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is.
God,
Yeah.
I hate Imagine Dragons, but that took
Imagine
me out
Dragon
too. I was
D's
like,
nuts
oh
across
shit,
your
is
face,
that one?
dude.
Oh,
and it's
one.
there's a certain DJ or a certain artist that the characters go to like a club, and that DJ is a real person in real life playing their music in this fictional world. And I was just like, dude, I'm not here for this. Like that fucking that sucked me out. And then something happened, and I was like, all right, I'm right back in. I'm good.
I do.
So
I do
I
have to
think
say
that
the first.
Well, I was going to say about the music thing. I think they do that on purpose because they know like they're those gamers
target audience.
They're blasting Imagine Dragons, dude. Let's get some more easy. Easy,
where's the Mountain Dew, baby?
Right.
Like,
Right.
What were you gonna say, Brett?
Yeah, no, I thought they did a good job at like after hearing the initial theme song and rolling my eyes, they got into it pretty fucking fast. Like as far as like action and like me being invested, they pulled me in pretty fast and did a good job at it.
It's good. It's definitely so the premise is kind of high level, much like Attack on Titan. Like there's politics stuff that you really have to pay attention to, and it's not all run and gun like villain of the week type thing. There's an overarching story, but once it breaks through that, it has some of those Into the Spider-Verse, like we just Turning Red, like the pals, like the bangs, like it has that type of art direction. And then there are certain scenes where one of the character is kind of having like a mental psychotic break, and it has like that Into the Spider-Verse flash that just comes across the face or distorts the image in a certain way, and then it bounces back to that game engine type animation that the entire thing is. So it has some stuff sprinkled in there. I thought it was really good. I'm excited for season 2.
Nice.
Yeah. But with that, guys, we just ran through some tunes. Arcane on Netflix, Attack on Titan, season 4, part 3, first part of part 3 on Hulu, King Special on HBO. Let us know in the comments which one you're watching, or if there are any tunes that we need to watch. Guys, what do we have left to say before we end this?
Dude, has this been the longest fucking episode we've done so far?
I don't know. I'd say it's up there. It's pretty close to some of the other ones.
Close. But I think it's one of the best, dude. It's one of the best. Go check out the Patreon, patreon.com/wearethetelevision. Get yourself a mug, sweet mug. We got a special episode coming at the end of March. Stay tuned. It involves C2E2. Dun dun dun.
Baby.
But we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Later.
We are the television.